Howdy everybody, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the Artvilla, found somewheres in the jungles of the Midwest. Well, got to the gym today and stopped at the store briefly to stock up for the apocalypse, which is on its way. In about another hour, I think things are going to start icing up, and hope we don't lose power, because I've got two generators, but I never start them, so that when I need them, they don't start. And they're old, and they're really hard to take apart. In fact, I've never done it. The guy that lent me the generators 10 years ago and left them here because he has too much junk in his basement, has come over and taken them apart. There are points inside, you know, and they sit on the floor and they get corroded, but they're buried underneath. I'm sure I could take it apart and figure it out. But the last time I used it, this is a good story. I didn't think I'd have any stories to tell, but I'll tell this story. It was an ice storm, and there's a transformer out front on the pole that services three houses: my house, my neighbor across the street. So a branch broke out of the tree. That tree is gone now, so we got rid of all them. Fell out and hit the wire, and it pulled the thing and caused that transformer to kick off. And well, because there were so many, what was the windstorm, that weird windstorm? I think it was an ice storm. Anyway, it was out for almost a week. Or this could have been the windstorm. This could have been the windstorm. No, I think it was the windstorm. Sorry about that. It was that freak windstorm we had years ago. Blew down all these trees. Anyway, there was so much damage, regardless of when it happened, that they couldn't get to us until later on. So, after about, it was 7 days, I thought, yeah, I'd like to have some electricity to do something like run the refrigerator or something. So, the generator I did have of his didn't work, so then he had another generator, which is bigger, so I had to take I took the truck over, and it was heavy, and we had to put a board and drag it, put it in the truck, drove all the way back, drug the thing off, got it down, ran 2-3 extension cords, like to a light in the refrigerator, started the thing up, and I went upstairs, and the power came back on. It's the energy company playing a joke on me. And I think I'll start them every year, but I don't. So you got to run stuff, and so I'll just have to pay the piper if the power goes out. All right, pay the piper. Where'd that phrase come from? What does that mean? Who are you paying when you paid the piper? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. So I have a thin stack of records. A few came from eBay, and I stopped it. I had a chance to be somewhere. I was forced to be somewhere, so there was a record store, so I stopped. And his sign fell down. I said, "Hey, your sign, somebody hit your pole?" And I didn't think anybody hit the pole. He goes, "No, it just fell down." And the record store sign fell down. He's a funny guy. He says what's on his mind. There are two record store guys that are like this. They have a thought, they say it, but when you respond with a thought, they're done. They don't. They're on to something else. They're not listening to you. It's really interesting. Anyway, what else is going on? That's it. That's it. I'll go right to the records. I have this one, and it's a good one, but it came as a part of a group, so I got another copy of it. It's an excellent record, and maybe this is better. In the stack of records I got from David Fair, I kept saying, I have this one, but many of them I didn't actually have, or one I probably had, but it was so trashed I didn't. So anyway, some worked out where I thought I had them, I didn't have them. And there were stereo copies where I just had the mono copy, so there's some variations in the cover. You know, it's the minute things in life that make collecting fun, and the life of the collector that make collecting fun. I realized that I've been collecting records like this, like so many of them. It goes way back, but never serious until like maybe it's going on 9 years anyway, you know. So I kind of have a count because of the blogs. So I can't say, off the top of my head, I think I've got maybe 5,000 records blogged. Which means I've listened at least twice that many. You know, many of them I don't care for, and you know. So I know I've got over 10,000 records here in the house. So, but the point is, I'm not bored. Every other hobby, after all this time, I would have been on to something else, right? But this, for some reason. So what is it? Leave a comment. Here you go. It's an interactive moment in a many-part video. There are few. Where I reach out. So, why do you... What kind of fun do you get out of this stuff when you collect it? I don't collect it really to resell. I don't like to pay a lot of money because it's just like, for a little amount of money you can get like a half an hour worth of pleasure out of it for me. And I only blog stuff because, not, you know, sometimes to share stuff that doesn't exist on the web that might interest someone. That's kind of like the icing on the cake. It's the reward that I get out of it. But I like to you know, it's a way for me to catalog my own stuff. So sometimes I get a record and I think this is great, and I'll go upstairs and I'll listen to one side of it, and I'll look it up on the web, and I'll find the example of it on my own blog. So I know that I have it somewhere in the bunker down here somewhere. So I like the cover art. It's the whole thing. It's the cover art. I love the cover art. Here's a nice cover art. Dolores. That came as part of the eBay lot. I think that's going to be a good record. So it's the cover art and the notes on the back and the music. So there's like a three-prong kind of three-tiered layer of creativity, information, cover, and of course the music contained on the disc. It's three parts to each album. It's just a small thing unless you have 10,000 of them. And then they start to stack up, let me tell you. All right. It's Your Glorious World in Music. What? It's the voice. It's this the actual. Oh, because I'm looking at the Julie Meredith, Songs of Vice and Virtue. The Lady and the Unicorn. I don't have this one. That's kind of interesting cover. That'll be interesting to listen to. And I don't have this one. Martha Schlalamain. Schlalame? Oh boy. Says kissing is no sin. Ah. Did anybody tell her to change her name? In other folk wisdom. Well, she's a folk singer, so maybe that name's pretty cool and she didn't change it to like Winston or Bernard, you know, like Martha Bernard. Something like that. Just being silly. This was fun to find at the record store. It's a gatefold, sort of a copy of Command record album style from the late 50s, early 60s, Mercury Records, African Sounds, Carl Stevens. Might sample something from that. It looks like it has a lot of, there's a song on it titled King Kong. That might be fun to play as a sample. Don't know. Paid a few dollars for that. This was $2. Just so you know, so you have some kind of reference. From the record store, $2, Red Chandler's Swing and Sweet. Red Chandler on Crown Records. Back vinyl. So that's Suez, Port of Suez. The Crown record I held up. So there's like all this. The set was, last week, the set was really good, and there were no artist credits, and people were saying parts of it came from here and parts of it came from there, and it could be this artist. And there was an ad in Billboard from 1959 that said that all their stereo albums were pressed on red vinyl, and that wasn't pressed on red vinyl. So there again, it's the details, the minutiae, to make things interesting. Never mind. Why'd you go on about that? This is a sticker mark, so that's not on there, thank God. Charlie Ventura album. Yeah. They had a pretty good price on it, but I've never seen this before around here, so I tell you, I paid $20 for that. Charlie Ventura, he's made some good records. And, oh, I've never seen a photograph of him too, so that was worth at least $5 right there to see a photograph of Ventura. You could have looked it up online for free. There's another interesting thing. Now that I'm older, I don't care. It doesn't bother me to tell stories about my childhood. It doesn't. You're kind of sensitive about yourself, you know, like exposing too much. But when I was in grade school, does anybody out there? Here's another interactive moment. Remember Scholastic magazine? So once a month they would come around in the class and they would hand out. It's a great business idea on their part, a book publisher, being able to like get into the schools like this. So they would come around and give you a list of these books to buy, and I loved to read as a kid. And my mother understood that it was a good thing, so she had spared no expense and allowed me to order as many books as I wanted. So when they would come in, I would have a stack on my desk. There were a few books here and one, you know, but I would always have a huge stack. And I can remember, you know, Jules Verne's, H.G. Wells, and all the classics. 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, War of the Worlds, my favorite as a kid. And I could remember reading that book and like, why does it end now? The world's destroyed and he's still alive, and the Martian ships have crashed, and how do they put everything back together again? How does mankind start up again? Is that the end of it? What about the rest of the Martians back on Mars? Did they come down? Did they figure out it was germs and attack again? How did that story really end? You know, and there was no follow-up. I couldn't understand why there wasn't more to the story. So, and then comic books and collecting and all that. So, but it's like, why didn't you go to the library? Just get it. You don't need the internet. You don't need any of this stuff. But I always like to hold stuff in my hand. I don't know. I like to own it. You know, and I'm not saying that's the right thing. That's probably, now that I'm older, I'm getting rid of stuff. I realize it's not. But up until now, and still now with the records, everything I have in my blog is in my collection. I keep it. At least for for a while yet longer. While longer yet. Ooh, I'm going to be able to clean. This is it had a big piece of tape on it. I think I can clean that off. Etta Jones, From the Heart. That was a couple dollars. That could be fun. This was a fun cover. I don't have this record. This was in the dollar bin. Basie, the Bag Count Basie and his orchestra. Fun cover. Brunswick. I think I've got this one, but I had to pick it up again because it was just $1. It's on Verb. Verb was a great label. Stan Getz and Esther Gilberto. She made at least one album I like. I'm not too thrilled with. It's also Gateful, by the way. Oh, there's a photograph of her playing. Apparently that's her and Stan Getz playing. Is there a date on this? But it's a Creed Taylor album also. Creed Taylor made his own music and then became a producer at Verb. Produced a lot of really great music. He's very creative. Produced a lot, made a lot of creative stuff during his career. So that might be good. Might be a better copy than I have. And last but not least, I don't have this, but it's a great cover. It wasn't too much money. I think it was $3 or $4. Sports cars. Oscar Brand and his hubcaps. Sports car songs. There's a lot of them on here. How did they fit all of these songs on here? Oh, figure it out later. You're just taking up time. You told a lot of stories and used up a lot of film. That's right, film. All right, then, let's go directly to the musical sample. The doctor gave me steroids for my shoulder. And they're working pretty good, but I don't think that's going to cure it. I just threw that in there. Now go upstairs. Okay.